Afternoon everyone. I thought I would post another video for you, another cooking video. This one is a chicken curry, which is really easy to make, and it's also really affordable. So yeah, please stay tuned and hope you enjoy. Okay, so to start the process, what we're going to do is we've got our cooker here as we've used previously. So we're just going to turn the stove on and heat up the pan. We're going to put a little bit of oil in there just to start everything up. So into the pan where you've got the oil, just allow it to heat up properly. So we've got one of these dried green chilies. You can get them at your local Indian store. You can also get them at Coles or Woolworths or whatever grocer that you live near. So yeah, I usually just break it in half, chuck it in, and it'll start sizzling. Also too, usually they're quite big, but these ones weren't very big, so we've got some bay leaves. So you want to just chuck, if they're big, just 2, but I'm going to put 4 in because they're quite small. So pop those in, allow them to sizzle too. And then just like a teaspoon and a half of cumin seeds. So they're also sizzling away. I'll give you guys a bit of a look in the pan. As you can see, they're sizzling away, which is good. That's a good sign. Now you don't want those cumin seeds to burn either, so basically just keep an eye on them. You don't want them to go black. So just keep moving them around the pan. Use a spoon to stir it if that's what you prefer to do. I just move them around a little bit. Yeah, but after this, what you're going to do is you're going to add your onions and your garlic and your ginger. You can add them all together, or you can add them one by one. Sometimes I add the garlic and then the ginger and then the onion once the ginger and garlic have had a bit of a moment to kind of cook together. So that's what we're going to do. So on my chopping board here, I've got some ginger and garlic just here, and I've got some red onion, and I've got 2 tomatoes as well. So this is about 2 small onions as well, and there's also a little green chili here as well. You can use those as well. That's optional. You don't have to put the green chili in, but I know my husband likes a little bit of heat, so I put that in there just for him. Yeah, so into the pan we're going to put the onions in. You'll hear them sizzle, and we're also going to put the ginger and garlic in. And we'll pop the onions, and also we'll pop the green chili in too. Now we've put the onions and the garlic and the ginger in there, so it's just cooking away, and you just want those onions to go really soft, yeah, to make them kind of taste a bit better, and to help when you put the tomato into to kind of make a sauce or a gravy as such. So you keep giving that a stir. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's softened a little bit. But yeah, just do it on a low flame because you don't want to do it too high, otherwise the other things in there will burn, so the ginger and garlic will burn. So in my pan I've got the onions, and as you can see they're softening up quite a bit just here with the chili, and everything's kind of combining together. So what you want to do is just keep stirring, and at this point now you can also add your tomatoes in, and that'll help start the process of softening those up. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I've added tomatoes in. As you can see, it smells really good. So yeah, give those a good stir, and once they've kind of softened up and they're kind of sticking together in the pan, it's one big kind of blob in the pan moving around, that's when you know that it's good for the next kind of process. So Yeah. Just another little tip, when you're kind of trying to get the onions and the tomatoes to cook quicker, just pop this on, and that'll help keep all of the condensation in the pan in there and keep all the juices so they don't dry out until you don't have to add water. So yeah, feel free to do that, give that a try, see if that works for you. It doesn't always work for everyone, so yeah, do what works for you. So we'll just keep an eye on it. We don't want it to burn. We've just spent all of that time. So basically the tomatoes have started to stick together, as you can see. They're kind of clumping together in the pan. Now this is the moment where you are going to want to put in all your dry spices or masalas, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm going to start off with some chicken masala. Feel free to use whichever one you want to use. This is the MDH one. I found this to be pretty good, so I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of that in there. And give that a stir. So once that's fully combined in there, you can add a little bit of turmeric. So we've got some turmeric here. So I'm just going to add a teaspoon. It's usually enough. And I'm going to add a few cloves as well. So just a few dried cloves in there, chuck them in. And stir those in as well. And it'll start to get a little bit thicker too, so there won't be as much liquid in there. I'll just show you what that looks like. As you can see, there's not as much liquid in there. It's becoming a little bit more dry now, and it's quite yellow because of the turmeric. So the other thing you want to add in is I'm going to add in 2 or 3 cardamom pods. Chuck those in there. That's just a little bit of extra flavour. You don't have to ground those or anything, but you can if you choose to. And you also want to add a little bit of smoked paprika or just something just for a little bit of extra colour. Pop that in there. Now at this point, if it starts to stick to the bottom, you can put a little tiny drop of water in there. So I'll just cup a little bit in my hand and chuck that in there, just so that it doesn't stick to the pan. Alright, so now that you've added that, now you want to add in some coriander powder. I'm going to put about 2 heaped teaspoons in there. And then some cumin powder as well. You can also put the seeds in, or you can ground the cumin seeds yourself, but I'm lazy, so I choose to use that. So yep, stir those in as well. And you'll see what I mean now about what it looks like when it's starting to kind of clump together. As you can see, when I move it around in the pan, it's starting to kind of move together. So that's a good sign. Now what you want to do is, once that's kind of stirred in a little bit, you want to add the chicken in. You can use thighs or you can use breast. It doesn't really matter, but I choose to use thighs because 1, they're a little bit cheaper, and 2, they create more juice for the pan and give it a better flavour as well. So you want to add them in the thighs now. So I have about 4 thighs chopped up because that's usually enough for us. And usually that lasts us probably 2 days worth of curry, or if we have somebody over, it probably lasts 1 day. So add that in. Now that you've added in the chicken, give it a stir around, and you want to coat that chicken in all of the stuff that's in the pan. So coat it in the sauce as much as you possibly can. do now is just let the chicken cook a little bit. So chuck that lid back on. But before you do that, you want to just add a bit of salt. So maybe a teaspoon and a half. And then chuck that lid on. You don't want to put the pressure lid on yet. You just want the chicken to cook a little bit. So I'm going to do that. Once it's been kind of cooking in there for a little bit, stir it around a little bit more. You kind of want it to look a bit like this. So it's kind of cooked partially and it's white, so the meat has gone white. So that's a good sign. Now what you want to do is you want to add about a medium-sized glass of water. So I've got this mug here just to show you. This is my hand. So you want to add about one of these and just a half as well. So you want to do that now and just stir it all around so everything's kind of well combined. And then we're going to put the lid on for the pressure cooker. So this is my 1.5 glasses. And this is what it should look like. Just keep giving it a stir until everything's well combined in there and nothing's hard. So yeah, we're going to keep doing that. And then what we're going to do is pop on the lid. So this is our lid. We've got the whistle that's attached. So you want to make sure that it has one of these black rubber band things too. Make sure that's firmly on there, otherwise it won't seal it properly. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop it on. So I'll show you how I pop it on so you can get a bit of an idea. There we go, we can see the pot. So we'll just put it in like this. You'll notice that it's round, like an oval shape like this. You want to put it in the opposite way. And it goes in nice and snug in there. It sits on that little lip just here, as you can see. And then what you want to do is you want to clamp it and make sure that it's all clamped in here, as you can see. Leave it on the heat, leave it on that medium heat, because our heat in Australia is quite different. So most, they say like a medium flame, but I'm on the biggest kind of hot plate here. So put that on the lowest flame you can and that'll be enough. Now what you want to wait for is you want to wait for about 2 to 3 whistles. If you want it really well cooked, 3 whistles, but I'm just going to go for 2. Yeah, so I'll show you what the whistles look like when they start. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what the whistle looks like. It's about to go off. This is how you know that I'm going to wait for one more. My daughter really doesn't like the whistles, so she's getting a bit upset about it. But you want it to go off one more time. All those whistles have gone off, so your 3 or your 2, whatever you choose. You want to just turn it off at the stove and just let it cool down itself. All of the steam inside, that'll come out itself, out this little valve. Now, when you want to check to make sure that it's all out, you just lift this up just to see if it's all coming out. If that stuff's still coming out, the steam, you want to just leave it for a little bit longer. So usually I leave it for about 5 or 10 minutes before I come back and check the curry. Yeah, so I'll get back to you in 5 or 10 minutes and we'll have a bit of a look at what it looks like. So, as we discussed before, once it's cooled down, it should kind of, you should be able to do this with it. Like lift this up and none of the steam should come out. If you want to be sure, use the spoon to just push the little bit up. Now what you want to do is you want to just push it again and you want to turn it on its side. So give it a little tap or something. Turn it on its side and you want to take that lid off. Give it a stir. And your finished product should look something like this. Now you can choose what you want to have with it. We're going to have rotties with ours, so I'm going to make the dough fresh and we'll have that together and I'll show you what that looks like at the end, the finished product. You can also have a little bit of salad with it, like a bit of cucumber, a bit of raw red onion, goes really nicely with it. But But yeah, give this a try. Super easy, and it's super affordable too. So yeah, all the recipes that I'm going to do are super affordable, and you can make them heaps of times with the amount of with a small amount of product. So yeah, stick around, and yeah, hopefully you can see more things that I make.